Greece, the land of ancient philosophers, grand battles, and legendary heroes. But in the mid-20th century, this cradle of Western civilization became a battleground for one of the first conflicts of the Cold War, the Greek Civil War, a war between monarchists and communists that would shape the fate of a nation. But this was no simple war. Beneath the surface, a geopolitical struggle of epic proportions unfolded, pitting Western democracy against communist revolution, pitting neighbor against neighbor, and tearing Greece apart at its very core. To understand the Greek Civil War, we must go back to World War II. Greece had resisted Mussolini's invasion in 1940, but fell to the Germans in 1941. The country was divided between Axis occupiers Germany, Italy, and Bulgaria. But in the mountains, resistance groups were forming. Two main resistance movements emerged. The leftist ELAS, Greek People's Liberation Army, controlled by the communist EAM National Liberation Front, and the right-wing royalist EDES National Republican Greek League. Though they fought the Nazis together, tensions between them were growing. As the war ended, Greece found itself in the grip of another power struggle. Britain, fearing a communist takeover, supported the monarchy. Stalin, despite having communist allies in Greece, kept his promise to Churchill in the Percentages Agreement, leaving Greece in the British sphere of influence. With the Nazis defeated, Greece should have entered a period of peace. But the exiled monarchy, supported by Britain, returned, causing political chaos. Meanwhile, the communists, who had gained massive influence during the occupation, refused to lay down their arms. In 1946, the communist-led Democratic Army of Greece DSE launched an armed insurgency against the government. Marking the beginning of the Civil War, the communists, trained in guerrilla warfare, controlled much of northern Greece, receiving weapons and aid from Yugoslavia, Albania, and Bulgaria. But they lacked a key ingredient: direct Soviet military support. With Britain unable to sustain its military efforts in Greece, the United States stepped in with the Truman Doctrine, a massive injection of military and economic aid to prevent a communist takeover. This marked a turning point. The Greek National Army, now heavily armed and reorganized, launched brutal counterinsurgency operations against communist forces. The final blow came when Yugoslavia's leader, Josip Broz Tito, broke with Stalin in 1948. Yugoslavia had been the main supplier of arms and logistical support for the Greek communists. With that lifeline severed, the communists found themselves isolated. By 1949, Greek government forces, backed by the US and Britain, launched a final offensive, using superior firepower and strategic bombings to crush the remaining insurgents. The Civil War was over. The war ended, but at a terrible cost. Over 100,000 people were killed. Thousands more were imprisoned, exiled, or executed. The Communist Party of Greece was outlawed. The monarchy was restored, but Greece remained a deeply divided nation. But more importantly, the Greek Civil War was the first proxy war of the Cold War, setting a precedent for U.S. intervention in global conflicts to counter the spread of communism. It was a preview of what would later unfold in Korea, Vietnam, and beyond. Even today, the legacy of the Greek Civil War lingers. It shaped Greek politics for decades, with tensions between left and right still visible. But understanding history is key to healing old wounds. The war may have ended in 1949, but its impact continues to shape Greece to this very day. History is not just about wars and battles, it's about people. It's about understanding the past to build a better future, and that is why we study history.